that man right there, Željko Obradović.
I started to be coach like 91. We are now in 2023, so this long period, and basketball changed a lot in this period. What I like is to my team to use the quality they have and to play smart. You need to adjust, you need to think about everything, that basically small details make the difference, in my opinion.
Obradović now up to 9 titles with 5 different teams in 4 different countries.
For me, it was a great opportunity to work with my professor, Aleksandar Nikolić. He really care about details. Probably because of him, I care a lot about details. I remember that we play something that always it was in transition game, that let's say point guard start over here to create screen and roll game with 4 men, and over here it was 5 and 2 over here. So it was over here screen and roll, in same time it was over here screen for 3, but in same moment 2 making screen for 5. Important thing is that a ball in hands of this player, he need to ask for the ball over here. So to put the defense to play to deny, and in this case these picks have sense. So he goes over there and how 3 men going on that side over here. Now he screen for 5 men. He dribble the ball exactly until over here, and after that he screen for screener. In my different clubs I play this, and I have really players that they was able to shot the ball, 3-point shot, position 5. I talk big guys that somehow it was in that period maybe surprised. Right now everybody is able to shot the ball. It's very important how your player will react in the practice, first of all, because practice always is very, very important. If you do good in the practice, you will do in the game. I hate the practice that my team is not concentrated. If I see that is one of 2 players, they don't have concentration, it's better to put them, let's say, in the bench and to continue with another. To be basketball coach, you need to think a lot, to watch your players. And of course, what I ask for my point guards is always to bring the ball much faster, to be able over here to start offense and to have, let's say, at least 20 seconds to make one normal offense. After that, they go to simple things. Simple things. What is basketball generally? You have inside game over here, okay? You have pick and roll on side in this spot over here, pick and roll on top over here, or over here, and you have isolation game. 1-to-1 over here, 1-to-1 over here, 1-to-1 over here. Every day is opportunity to learn something new and to be better. I believe it's a big privilege if you're doing something that you like in the life. And I like basketball. And I'm very, very happy because of this, that I'm doing something that I like so much.
I think the most important things in coaching, probably we have to speak about the most important things that we talk about life. Basketball is a 24 hours job. It's extremely important to take care of yourself, your body. So for me, these are the first thing for everybody to be able to sacrifice for the good of the team. I believe the teams that improving over the course of the year, they are the teams who have more chances of winning, because the most important titles are decided probably in the last 2 months. We have to play hard, we have to practice very hard, we have to come prepared, but the most important is to not speak about it, is to actually do it. For me, it was very easy because I understood exactly how I wanted to be, and it's just a constant adjustment. I understand now that at the beginning of my career earlier that maybe I took a lot of things for granted from the standpoint of that if I understand, which for me seems like something so easy and very simple, doesn't exactly mean that my players understand it. So over the years I started coaching them a little bit more patiently, a little bit more without assuming things. As far as remembering my years from Žalgiris, when I was playing with, with Paulius Jankūnas, and I had some good guards, whether it was Vasa Micic or Kevin Pangos. In the key moments, I would go to the most simplest play and basically try to put the ball into the hands of my best players and to leave them, more importantly, a lot of space to operate. If these guys were right-handed drivers, we would do some kind of preparation by clearing the 3 position, then the 2 position player would go up a little bit, and then this is just a little bit fake. We try to create them the space, and then the 5 position player go into so-called the dunker spot, whatever. I had the 3 position player clear, but he can go into the shuffle pick. And then usually Ioannis, who I coached for 6 or 7 years, who's great in the mid-range game, or a great as a seal guy from the 5 position, he will sprint into the very simple side pick and roll. But more importantly is this space that we have for them to operate. So sometimes it's not about the offense, but I said it was a lot of times here the penetration of Pangos or Micic into their strong hand, and then some kind of pick and pop with Polish Ioannis who was working. At the end of the games, I think your best players have to decide the game. I had Nick Kalathis in Barcelona, who was a great passer, Tomas Satoransky, and my 4 position player was Nikola Mirotic. I think one of the plays that we ran the most, they call it Argentina transition. So that will put our point guard, who's a great passer, over here. The 3 position will go into the corner, and ultimately we have here the double exit between the 2 and the 4. So if the defender was going a little bit down, Nikola would choose up and shoot a 3-point shot, or if defender was kind of going over the top, Nikola would fake and get a layup. But it's not about the offense, it's about who can do what, and if you have the players who can deliver it, you just look that much smarter as a basketball coach. I think with a veteran team, or if you have a returning team of many guys playing together with the same coach over the years, everything is a lot easier. And they already know a lot of the stuff. You just have to refresh them a little bit, and they jump right in it. So the veteran players is extremely, extremely important. It seems like the game is moving faster with more the 3-point line, but the main things will be there. You have to play good defense. You have to not to give cheap points. In European basketball, the teams are so similar to one another, so every cheap point, every transition point, offensive rebound, 50-50 balls, these balls really determined at the end of the game for 5, 6, 7 points different, and usually the games are decided in that point range. I always say that my ambitions can be the highest as you can imagine, but the focus is different. The focus is the next practice, the focus is next day, next cycle, next week maximum. This is, for us coaches, we don't look very far.
Every day, probably, you discover something. I was not a player. I stopped very early when I was 17 because they offered me to try to become a coach. Okay? So I never experienced what many colleagues who have played a high level have experienced, the feeling into a locker room before a big game. That's something that I try to learn every day from my players, to see how they behave, how they react, how they think. You see, most of the talented teams play extremely simply but extremely efficient, with a lot of attention to the details. I've been in many, many Final Fours, and one play was to skip the ball for a one-on-one or for a two-man game with the four-man. Or pass the ball here for a post-up action. We were playing, honestly, that team was very athletic and with a lot of shooters and with a center who can attract a lot of attention from the defense. The game is decided by what you do in recovering after a missed shot or after a turnover. In team sports, we always have a tendency to think that everybody think in terms of team. We, which is very important. But we is made by a lot of I's. And first of all, I need to do well my job. I need to stop my man. I need to make sure that I don't become a liability for my teammates. Let's say you have a player here. Let's say you have a player here. Let's say you have a player here. And there is a pick and roll here, what coaches call a pick and roll going in, okay? So the offense is going like this. This player will probably roll like this, okay? So now there will be this defender will be here. This defender will probably be here, correct? So when especially against a drop defense, this player will do what we call the shift. So we'll come here to help, okay? Now, this player will probably cover two players at the same time, correct? So you can do multiple things to what we call attacking the shift. The shift is this one. One that I like a lot, very common way, is to cut this player like this, okay? I always liked to work also on this. Screen your own man and slide this man here for a shot. So if this defender is helping, he cannot get back here. The only one who could go there is this one, but my teammate is doing this, you know? So it's very simple, but it requires time to practice and to get accustomed one to the other. I'm not a big fan of the games. The games are always painful, I would say. I'm really envious of those who say that the game is fun. The game itself is fun for the players, not for the coaches.
Why transition offense is very important for me, and why it's important defensive rebound for me to create that transition offense. Okay, first of all, because you need to have the ball and you have to play good defense, and usually the highest percentages of getting the ball back is out of the defensive rebound. You can steal the ball, but it will be a breakaway. But it's important that you create a transition offense after being scored or after a defensive rebound. Usually I like to work on spacing, and I create corridors that are very important for me. For example, I want big guys to run on this corridor. I want position 1, 2, and 3 to run on this corridor. Why? Okay, these two corridors near to the lines are very dangerous, because if they press you there, you have the risk of going out of bounds. So I prefer these two corridors for the outside guys, and this corridor for the big guys, okay? So after the rebound, we want an alley pass to one of those areas, okay? And quick, be able to come to this area, keeping, like we said, the right corridors. This is one space, second one, third, and fourth space for the outside guys, okay? So if we're bringing the ball up here or here, it's very important that the other two outside guys are either on this area, either on this area, either on this area, okay? That way you create the feeling of, okay, you have position 1, and let's say you make this guy cut, and you go to this kind of positions, okay? Position 2, position 3, who clear out. Could be here, then it would be one guy here, but he should be either up here or in the corner, okay? So we have clear that on our middle corridor, we have our two bigs, okay? Let's say position 4 and position 5. If we have a big guy that really can run, that I like it, a big guy that can run, he should go straight to the basket. That way, if the ball is here, these guys have to be able to defend this situation because this is a clear basket. I remember in Madrid we have different options for JC on the transition, but one and probably the most famous one was point guard. When he get the first pass, he was looking for JC's side. If JC was here or here, he was going after him to push him, let's say, okay, to push him to run. And let's say if JC was here, they were dribbling towards JC, so JC was using a screen for the other wing, usually the 3, and 4 and 5, they were setting this kind of screen for JC for the shooter. We got one that it was called red, I remember, that everybody knew. Even my assistants now in Bayer said, you play red, in that it was putting JC on the other side and make 3 screens for him. That way, he was running also for the jumper. I'm going to put an example of what Fenerbahce back on those days, I think it was in playoff time, did to stop JC in a lot of our plays. JC was receiving screens to go out where he could shoot or penetrate or create or go to the corner. No? And create these passing lanes that were very effective. Okay, Obradović, who was a great coach, thought, okay, how do we stop this? Okay, this defender went out with JC, okay, to deny him, to keep him off the pass so he doesn't get the ball. For me, this is advantage for defense because you stop, but it's also an advantage for offense because then you will have a mismatch here because JC's men will have to defend this post-up. Let's say JC's coming off here. All the focus on the defense is on this. How about if you play a pick and roll to the other side? Maybe you have advantage. So at the end, having a player like JC who creates a lot of attention to the other team, creates situations where you maybe can get something in some other action away from where JC is attacking. And a lot of times, this is something that coaches will see, will recognize, but it's not that easy to execute defensively. And it's important that coaches, we see it, we recognize, and as offensive coaches, we make our players understand this. Okay, let's get advantage of this. Because sometimes players think, okay, get a good screen and I will get open. No, maybe get a good screen and we will get a basket or an open situation on the other side.
From the beginning, fight for every ball, aggressive, tough and physical, okay? From the beginning for 40 minutes. Let's go. Let's go.
My philosophy is always according to the players that we have in the squad. When I was in Olympiacos, I had the majority of the players were Greek players from national team of Greece, quality players together with quality American players, but less American players than the Greeks. When I went to Maccabi, more American players than locals, so there you have to deal with a different approach. As coaches, we have to guide the game to our philosophy and our principles. There is one play that I put it very early when I start to coach. I use it for Spanoulis mainly, Wilbekin and Elijah Bryant. So initially we have the point guard having the ball, controlling the ball. 5 is at the top of the key, 2 is under the basket, 3 and 4 at the corners. We start with the pick and roll, and then 5 after the ball screen goes for a pin down for a second guard who comes up. Immediately we have an option of this side. We have an option of straight pass inside for the big guy to take advantage in the heart of the defense. And if nothing happens, now 2 has the ball and 5 comes to set a second screen, ball screen for the guard and 2 good players at the corner. This is a play that's very simple but very characteristic of my offensive tactics. There are a couple of plays that during all these years we succeeded to win games. Against Khimki at the end of the game, we were down 3 points. I took time out, we had the ball from sideline, so we put a good passer here. 4 was here, 5, 3, and 2. So initially we set a pin down screen for 2, and then 3 immediately came and set a back screen for 4. So that was a long pass to find the weak side big man on the post. And then on the pass, 5 sets a screen for this guy to come out and receive the inside out pass for a 3-point shot.
Tyler Dorsey fakes Devin Booker, pulls the trigger and connects from downtown.
We tied the game, we went in overtime and then we won the game. I want to learn and improve myself every day, no matter my age and no matter how long I'm coaching. I want to get better and to improve myself. Okay, first, work hard. Find ways to improve the players, individual practices, team practices, tactics, techniques. You need to work hard. Secondly, improve yourself, okay? You need to be always creative as a coach and you need to find the ways how you will be better as a coach. And the last thing, be patient. If you work hard and you're improving yourself, you do a good job, sooner or later you will find your opportunity to go to the next level and to make the next step. Just be patient and everything will come if you have the other two.